So, 2000. Is that the correct one? Yes, because 98 took me north. 2012 was, and 21 was this. So yes, 2000. The year 2000. Da 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 ding ding ding. Dear Lord, I am broken. What do I do? Where do I go? Go west, young man. That was the answer I got. Go west, young man. So I went west. There are two very significant stories from that trip. One takes place in Phoenix, Arizona, just before the end. The other one takes place in the Texas Panhandle on whatever the fuck that is now, 40, going all the way across. So I'm on this trip and I decide, because it's, listen, I just don't understand how settlers, how we moved west, because you get to a certain point and it's, if we hadn't built towns there, it's just nothing. Don't even get me started on who the fuck was like, yeah, let's cross the Rocky Mountains in this covered wagon. I didn't like doing it in a van. Fuck that. I'll settle right here, dude. You go on, my man. Go. Fuck. No, so there's a whole lot of nothing. And I decide that I want to get a good night's sleep. Was I in the fucking Chevette? Oh, God, I did this in the Chevette. Oh, Lord almighty. Talk about being in a tiny little sardine can and trying to live. Oh. So I'm in the Panhandle, I'm on 40, and I come up on this sign, Shamrock, Texas. Shamrock, okay, cool, yay, there's a little bit of Irish in me. So Shamrock, and I pull out at Shamrock, and really, all you can really see or experience getting off the highway, the interstate in Shamrock, is a huge, 10-bay mechanic station and a Best Western. If there's anything else in Shamrock, you wouldn't know. So I stayed at the Best Western. I've got to wet my whistle. Hold on a moment. I stayed at the Best Western. And the next morning when I was checking out, I did what I did on quests. I want to find tarot work. I want to find a place to... So I asked at the desk, explained it. Is there any kind of spiritual place you can think of where maybe... Now, I need to explain again that, I'm on a quest. So it's... The rules are very simple. You ask a question, you get an answer, you follow it. Where do I go? Here. Okay. The woman says the only place I can think of is if you continue 40 miles west on Route 40, you will come across a 40-story cross. That's all I can think of, she says. And here are the two things that stood out to me in what she said. One, cross. I was in a hands-off Christianity stage, not out of any kind of hatred or contempt, or it was just, that's what I had come up with, that's how I was raised, and I needed to kind of put that on the shelf, and I wanted nothing to do with it. So cross, you're sending me to a cross. A cross. That's your plan. This is what's going through my head. And then right away, the second thing that I caught were the 3 40s. 40, 40, 40, 40 days and 40 nights. Wasn't it 40 years in the desert? That was Spirit's way of saying, this is important. Pay attention, dickhead. So I am walking out of the lobby. I'm going towards the double doors and through the double doors, and the whole time I am having this, it might have been out loud, dialogue with God. Exactly everything I just said. To where and for 40 fucking miles, that is what I did. I cannot believe you are sending me to a fucking... Really? Oh! And I go, and so there it is. One of the tackiest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. God. Oh. And this is why I'm hands off Christianity. Not because I hate it, but because apparently Christians do. What is that? Oh. However, redemption. I parked and I got out to walk around, and they were in the process of putting in bronze statues of the 12 stations of the cross, which at the time was a whole new concept to me. I knew very, very little of it. They weren't all in yet, but they were like in this ring around that fucking monstrosity. And the ring came around to a set of steps leading up to bronze statues of Jesus and the two robbers. And I did find myself in a bit of awe, like, huh. And I picked something up out of the 12 stations, so that was cool. And as I made my way up to Jesus on the cross, the first thing I noticed was that I could no longer see that monstrosity because it was behind me, and I sort of forgot it existed for a moment. Thank you, Lord. Oh. And the second thing I noticed is that, and I'm not a literate Christian, I know some stuff. So I see above Jesus' head this board that has scratched in it I-N-R-I, Yud Nun Resh Yud, and my brain is saying I just read that this is a Hebrew blessing. What was it there? Why would they? What? And so there's this dude. So the dude was like not a cowboy, but like sort of like one of the guys I'd see either in the bands with Dad or hanging out at where they played. Like blue jeans, denim fucking vest with a t-shirt, and I'm pretty sure the cowboy hat was denim as well. He was skinny. I mean, not like anorexic kind of shit, but he wasn't a big guy, but he had a beard. Like he almost had this like cross between Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings sort of vibe going on. His name was Daniel, and so he's tending the flower beds. Excuse me, sir. Pardon moi. And I explained, and I expressed my confusion, and did they hang that up there? And he said, yeah, the Romans hung it there sort of as a slap in the face, right? And we talked a little bit more, and so now he tells me his story. Now, this is the year 2000. This is when the internet was America Online, right? This was those days. That's what we're talking about. The world was still functioning off of this one very bizarre platform. So his story is, I lost my wife and daughter. He did not give specifics or details, but I promise you, to hear him say it, they didn't just get up and walk away. They were gone. He says, I lost my wife and daughter. And so he was from like Washington or Oregon. And on AOL, he met this woman in Florida who had kind of re-sparked a little something in him. And he was making his way to her, working his way across the country. And he told me his story, and I can remember I was standing, like he was still kneeling doing his stuff, and I was standing there, and I started to kneel down in front of him, and I reached down and I put my hand on his shoulder, and I said, Daniel. And Daniel, to a guy walking up the hill towards us over Daniel's shoulder, and me being like, I gotta go. It was the guy who ran the place, and I didn't like his vibe. So now I know I spoke. I know there was time in between. I know I said something. I know I did. If I had any doubt, hold on. Daniel, gotta go. Nice to meet you. And I make my way back down the hill, and I'm halfway across the parking lot when he yells out, freedom! And I turn around, and he's running down towards me, and he gets up to me. And for those of you that are old enough, I always say the best, not to make light of it, but the best image I can give you of what I saw when I looked up was here is worn semi-wrinkled face and the beard and the hat, and he's looking at me, and he's got one tear running down his cheek, and every time I think of that, like 1970s Native American litter commercial. That's, if you need to picture the image, do that, but with scruff. So he runs up to me, and one tear coming down his face, and he said, I have to thank you. He said, this morning I prayed, and you just gave me every answer. The fuck did I say to him? You're sending me where? See, and this is kind of an example of like how little we understand God. Like, wouldn't he have had a better time of sending me there if he'd have just said, listen, I need you to whisper in some dude's ear for me. Would you do that? Sure. No. He had to throw riddle and rhyme and cross and 40 and ha ha ha. You gotta go, you gotta go. He taunted. He does that shit to me all the time for 40 miles. Just to see if I would bitch for 40 miles. That's God right there. Amused the hell out of himself with listening to me bitch for 40 miles so that for the next 40 years, I could look back on that moment and feel like a complete jackass. I guess I should have just shut my mouth and gone, huh? Dude, you're welcome. I don't know what the fuck happened here, but you're welcome. I didn't tell him that, but